Tonight, I stand here before you, a humble, thankful, and gracious recipient of the William J. and Reverend Shirley M. Smith Scholarship. This evening, I give thanks to the Scholarship Board and its donors, even those who could only financially contribute a small amount. I thank Delaware State University and the Mail Project for their continued support as I proceed to matriculate through the remainder of my college years at DSU. I give a special thanks to my mentors, Ms. Knox, Ms. Nakia, and Mr. Whitaker, for all the advice and support over the years. Thank you to the Smiths and Ms. Espernette for all the help, laughs, and fun. Most importantly, I say thank you to my grandma for always instilling in me the value of an education. Looking back, I find it almost astonishing and surreal that I stand here before you today. As being the 6th out of 15 children, that's just a lot, to be the product of drugs, I never knew what it felt like to have a father in my life, or how it felt to experience the comfort of a mother's love. So I often ask myself, why me? How out of 14 other children was I the one to make it? Honestly, I think I am here before you tonight because of those that I consider to be my guardian angels. I would have to say that my best and brightest shining light is my grandmother. You see, since I was 3 months old, my grandmother has played both the mother and the father role, and I think any single mother would agree that it is very hard for a woman to raise a man in today's society. But I would like to believe that she did a fantastic job with raising me, and that she did a better job than my parents could have ever done. I was able to see true strength, love, and faith, what it looks like. The biggest lesson that I have learned from my grandmother would be forgiveness, which continues to be a lesson that even today I struggle with. Without my grandmother in my life, I would have probably been just another statistic and lived up to the inaccurate and unjust stereotypes placed upon young African American males. Without her, I probably wouldn't have the courage to carry on through my many difficult times. It always seems as though every time I get knocked down, I always seem to find an unchanging hand to grab onto that continues to pick me back up. Through my journey of life, I have learned that we as humans sometimes have to hit rock bottom in order to climb back up to the top again. We were not put on this earth to simply exist and have hard times. No. We all have a plan and a purpose set before us to accomplish. I would like to believe that I was created to use my trials and tribulations as inspirations to others. Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. There are so many lost souls in the world, and I know I may not be able to save them all, but if I can just save or inspire at least one person, then my job is done, and I would have lived my dream. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Gunter, and I'm currently a sophomore at Delaware State University. So first things first, it is truly an honor and a privilege here to stand before you all tonight as a recipient of the William J. and Reverend Shirley M. Smith Senior Scholarship Fund. Second, I would like to give a special thank you to everyone who made tonight possible. Everybody who had a hand in making tonight possible for the recipients and us. It is an amazing experience to be here. And lastly, I would like to thank my family, friends, professors, mentors, and even my former vocational instructor from high school, Ms. Christine Schaub. I'll never forget the moment when I was informed by Ms. Renee when I had become an official recipient of the scholarship fund. I'll never forget this phone call because it was simply one of the most significant, life-changing, bittersweet moments of my life. It was a sweet moment because I was awarded an additional $3,000 for the duration of my matriculation at Delaware State University, yes. However, in this phone conversation, Ms. Renee wanted to validate and question my story, my essay, the About Me section of the application. Now, initially applying for the scholarships, I knew that I would have to be transparent with the scholarship board. And in being transparent, the transparency that I'm alluding to tonight goes a little bit deeper than the suit that I'm wearing. And it goes a little bit deeper than the organizations that's listed next to my name in the program. However, in this moment, I knew that it was my time to tell my story. Now, you may ask yourself, what has this young man been through? What's his story? You know, he looks pretty decent today. What's his story? What has he been through? Well, I'll share with you tonight what I shared with her in that conversation. I advised her while I was in this conversation that she was talking to, number one, a first-generation African-American young man who had big goals and aspirations of being successful. I informed her that I was a young man who came from a broken home. I informed her that I was a child who didn't have the comfort of having a father in his life. I was that child who was emotionally and physically abused by his mother for many years. I was that child who was abandoned by his mother in high school. I know we all know somebody like that today. Yeah. I was that child who was homeless. Though times were rough in that moment of disparity, I knew that change would come. And despite my misfortunes and negative circumstances I experienced in life, I knew that I was still destined for greatness despite it all. This is real talk. This is a disclaimer. This is the first time I ever said this. A disclaimer, this is real talk. And just as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, I too had a dream. I had a dream that one day I would graduate from both my institution of undergraduate studies and I would also go to law school and graduate. I had a dream that I would be listed as one of the greatest orators of the day and to be acknowledged as one of the greatest and most prominent litigating attorneys here in the state of Delaware. I have a dream that one day I would sit on the bench of justice and rule as a superior court judge. My dreams cannot and will not be deferred because I will always make progressive strides to achieve my greatest potential. It's you, individuals like yourselves, who partner with us by supporting us, encouraging us, and investing in students like me. By simply investing in our vision of success, by helping develop our distant dreams into our tangible realities. And for that, I say thank you.
Good evening, everyone. If you don't know, my name is Dwight Deloach. I am honored to be a second-year recipient of the William J. and Reverend Shirley M. Smith Senior Scholarship Fund. I stand here before you tonight in the same spot I was in last year, the young man who was honored for his accomplishments and inspiring career entering into his junior year at Delaware State University. I remember last year when I spoke about how this experience is more than a scholarship, and I made promises for your return on your investment. I can say with confidence that I fulfilled my promises I spoke upon last year at the Smith Inspired to Be Legacy Dinner. I said I would live up to the core values of the Smith Scholarship mission of faith, perseverance, and integrity. Throughout the school year, I participated in a mentor program that is aimed to retain Washington, D.C. native freshmen entering Delaware State University. Although I faced challenges, I was able to retain 6 of my 7 mentees for this academic year. And I learned a lot about my mentees, and I made an impact in each one of their lives. The other promise I stated was to contribute back to the Delaware community. I participated in numerous community service initiatives in the great state of Delaware, like the annual Easter Seals Volleyball Tournament. The Easter Seal Volleyball Tournament was a great experience for me, and I was able to raise funds towards a great cause as well as compete against great organizations in Delaware. Although our team did not win, I made sure I was the MVP of the team by taking every volley position serious. As humans, we often ask ourselves, how did I end up here? I'm currently asking myself that same question. How did I end up here today? I can only think about the individuals who impacted my life and saw me succeed. It is because of my parents who provided the love, support, and discipline I needed and was my foundation to overcome the adversities I faced at Delaware State. My father was a former janitorial supervisor at FEMA, and he used his relationships to open the door for me to get an internship with the Federal Emergency Management Agency in the Office of Administrator. With my mother being an administrative assistant to the Deputy Secretary at the State Department, she used her relationship to find me a mentor in my field of study. It's because of the College of Business Advisement Center that I received the Barclays internship and was my first private sector internship in my major. It's because of the numerous nonprofit organizations and foundations such as the William J. and Reverend Shirley M. Smith Senior Scholarship Fund that allow me to continue studying at Delaware State University. It's because of donors and sponsors that sacrifice and make monetary contributions to help fund nonprofits and foundations. It's because the civil rights leaders before me that fought for later generations that have the opportunity to have a higher education. But last but not least, it's because of my Lord and Savior, who instilled in me the determination, the knowledge, and allowed me to graduate from Delaware State University this December, and that will be a semester early for me. It is because of His mercy and His grace that I will be known as a positive statistic as a young African American male. In closing, we are here to honor the William J. and Reverend Shirley M. Smith Senior Scholarship recipient and the Smith Spirit awardee. I'm curious to hear from Mr. Randall Pinkston about his experience as a CBS White House correspondent, covering stories in my hometown of Washington, D.C. I thank you all for assisting in my collegiate success. I look forward to giving back as you did for me. Thank you.